In today's story, a man walks into an elegant restaurant and gets told he doesn't belong there. They laughed at his clothes, mocked his appearance, threw him out in front of everyone. But what they didn't know was about to change everything. This is a story about assumptions, about power, and about why you should never judge someone by what they're wearing. Stay until the end. When the truth comes out, their faces say it all. In the heart of the city, on a street lined with luxury boutiques and upscale restaurants, there stood a building that everyone knew, the Wellington. It was one of the most exclusive restaurants in the entire state. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, a wine list that cost more than most people's monthly rent. The kind of place where CEOs took clients, where anniversaries became memories, where every detail was perfect. And walking toward that restaurant on a rainy Tuesday evening was a man named James Miller. 46 years old, medium build, kind eyes, graying hair that was slightly too long. He wore an old jacket, the kind you'd find at a thrift store, jeans that had seen better days, work boots with scuffed toes. He looked ordinary, maybe even poor. But appearances can be deceiving. James had grown up with nothing. His father worked in a factory. His mother cleaned houses. They lived paycheck to paycheck in a small apartment on the wrong side of town. But James had dreams. He worked 3 jobs to put himself through community college, studied business at night, saved every penny. And slowly, over 25 years, he built something. A small restaurant at first, then another, then another. He reinvested every profit, expanded carefully, built a reputation for quality and heart. And now, at 46, James owned a restaurant group worth $42 million, 12 locations across 3 states. But most people didn't know his name. He preferred it that way. James believed in staying humble, in remembering where he came from. He never wore expensive suits, never drove flashy cars, never forgot what it felt like to struggle. And tonight, he was doing something he did with every restaurant he acquired. He was going undercover. 3 weeks ago, James had purchased the Wellington. It was struggling financially. The previous owner had mismanaged it. But James saw potential. He planned to turn it around. But first, he needed to see how the place really operated, not as the new owner, as a regular customer. So he dressed in his oldest clothes, didn't make a reservation, and walked through the rain to the front door. He had no idea what he was about to discover.
James pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. Immediately he was struck by the elegance. Soft music, candlelight, the gentle murmur of conversation. Beautiful. A hostess stood at a podium near the entrance. She was young, maybe 23, perfectly styled hair, designer dress, a professional smile. Until she saw James. Then the smile disappeared. Her eyes traveled from his wet jacket to his worn boots, and her expression changed to something between confusion and disgust. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone cold. "Table for 1, please," James said politely. She glanced at a tablet in front of her. "Do you have a reservation?" "No, I was hoping for a walk-in." The hostess, her name tag read Vanessa, looked him up and down again. "I'm sorry, sir, but we're fully booked tonight." James looked past her into the dining room. At least 6 tables were empty. "It looks like there's space," he said gently. Vanessa's jaw tightened. "Those tables are reserved." "All of them?" "Yes." James nodded slowly. "What time are the reservations?" Vanessa hesitated. "I'm not at liberty to share that information." A man approached from the side. He was in his early 40s, slicked back hair, expensive suit, an air of authority. His name was Nathan Pierce, general manager of the Wellington, and he ran the restaurant like it was his personal kingdom. "Is there a problem, Vanessa?" asked Nathan. Vanessa leaned in and whispered something to him. Nathan looked at James, and his expression hardened. "Sir," Nathan said, his voice smooth but condescending, "the Wellington is a fine dining establishment. We have a dress code." "I understand. I apologize if I'm not dressed appropriately, but I'd still like to have dinner." Nathan's smile was thin. "I'm afraid that won't be possible." "Why not?" "Because," Nathan said, stepping closer, "this restaurant caters to a certain clientele, and frankly, I don't think you'd be comfortable here." James stayed calm. "Let me worry about my comfort. I just want a table." Nathan's expression turned cold. "Sir, I'm going to be direct with you. People like you don't belong here." The words hung in the air. A few nearby diners glanced over, curious. James looked at Nathan for a long moment. "People like me?" he repeated quietly. "That's right. This is a high-end establishment. Our average entree costs $85. Our wine list starts at $200, and I seriously doubt you can afford that." James didn't flinch. "What if I can?" "Then I'd be very surprised." "So you're refusing to serve me because you think I'm poor?" "I'm refusing to serve you because you're not the kind of guest we want here," Nathan said bluntly. Vanessa looked uncomfortable. One of the waiters stopped what he was doing, watching. James took a breath. "I'd like to speak to the owner." "The owner just sold the restaurant 3 weeks ago, and the new owner, he doesn't take calls from walk-ins." "I see," James said. "So I'm going to ask you politely to leave before this becomes embarrassing for both of us." James looked around the restaurant one more time. The elegant tables, the expensive decor, the staff watching with a mixture of pity and disdain. Then he looked back at Nathan. "All right," James said quietly. "I'll go." He turned and walked toward the door. Nathan watched him leave, a satisfied smirk on his face. "Some people," Nathan muttered to Vanessa. Vanessa didn't respond. She just felt uneasy. James stood outside the Wellington in the rain. He wasn't angry. He was disappointed. Not surprised, but disappointed. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Marcus, it's James. Yeah, I just left the Wellington. We need to talk." Marcus Chen was James's director of operations, the man who helped him run his entire restaurant group. "What happened?" Marcus asked. "I wouldn't let me in. The manager said people like me don't belong there." Marcus was silent for a moment. "Are you serious?" "Very," James said. "I want you to schedule a full staff meeting tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Everyone. No exceptions." "Done," Marcus said. "Are you going to fire him?" James paused. "I'm going to give him a chance to explain himself first. But Marcus, I think we have bigger problems than one bad manager." "What do you mean?" "I mean the culture is rotten, and we need to fix it from the ground up." He hung up and stood there for a moment, watching the rain. Then he walked back to his car. But as he turned the corner, he saw something. A woman was sitting on the sidewalk near the restaurant's service entrance. She was maybe 60 years old, thin, tired-looking, wearing a housekeeping uniform. She was crying. James stopped. "Ma'am, are you okay?" The woman looked up, startled. She quickly wiped her eyes. "I'm fine, thank you." James knelt beside her. "You don't look fine. What happened?" The woman hesitated. Then, as if she couldn't hold it in anymore, the words came tumbling out. "I just got fired after 15 years. 15 years of scrubbing floors and cleaning bathrooms and doing everything they asked, and they fired me." "Why?" James asked gently.
"Because I asked for a day off," she said, her voice breaking. "My grandson is in the hospital. He's having surgery tomorrow, and I asked if I could take the day to be with him." She sobbed. "And Mr. Pierce, the manager, he said if I wasn't committed to this job, then I should find another one. So he fired me, right there, in front of everyone." James felt anger rising in his chest. "What's your name?" Gloria Santos." "How long have you worked here, Gloria?" 15 years, she repeated. "I started when this place first opened. I've never missed a day, never complained. I just wanted to see my grandson." James's jaw tightened. "You did nothing wrong." Gloria looked at him with sad, tired eyes. "It doesn't matter. I needed this job, and now I don't know what I'm going to do." James reached into his wallet and pulled out $200. "Here," he said, pressing it into her hand. Gloria's eyes widened. "No, I can't." "Please," James said, "for your grandson. Buy him something to make him smile." Gloria stared at the money, tears streaming down her face. "Why would you do this? You don't even know me." James smiled gently. "Because kindness should be free, and because you deserve better than how you've been treated." Gloria broke down crying again. Thank you so much." James helped her to her feet. "Where are you going now?" "To the hospital, to be with my grandson." "Do you need a ride?" "No, the bus stop is just around the corner, but thank you. You're a good man." James watched her walk away, and he thought about Nathan Pierce, the man who'd just thrown him out of the restaurant, the same man who'd just fired a woman for wanting to be with her sick grandson. Tomorrow was going to be very interesting.
The next morning, 9 a.m. sharp, the entire staff of the Wellington was gathered in the main dining room. Waiters, chefs, hosts, bartenders, cleaning staff, everyone except Gloria, who'd been fired. They stood in clusters, confused and nervous. Nathan Pierce stood at the front, arms crossed, looking annoyed. "Does anyone know what this is about?" one of the waiters whispered. "No idea," another replied. "Maybe the new owner is finally showing up?" Nathan cleared his throat. "All right, everyone. Apparently we have a mandatory meeting this morning. I don't know what it's about either, but let's make it quick. We have lunch prep." The front door opened. A man walked in. It was James, but this time he wasn't wearing old clothes. He wore a tailored navy suit, a crisp white shirt, polished shoes, and walking beside him was Marcus Chen, carrying a leather folder. Nathan looked at James, his brow furrowed. He didn't recognize him. James walked to the front of the room and turned to face the staff. "Good morning, everyone," James said, his voice calm and clear. "My name is James Miller, and as of 3 weeks ago, I'm the new owner of the Wellington." The room went silent. Nathan's face went pale. "I'm sure many of you are wondering why I called this meeting, so let me explain." He gestured to Marcus, who opened the folder. "Last night, I came to this restaurant as a customer. I didn't make a reservation. I didn't announce who I was. I just walked in, hoping to have dinner." He paused, looking directly at Nathan. "And I was turned away." Nathan's mouth opened, but no words came out. "The manager told me that people like me don't belong here," James continued. "He judged me based on my appearance, assumed I couldn't afford to eat here, and refused me service." The staff exchanged shocked glances. "But that's not all," James said. "After I left, I met a woman outside, a housekeeper named Gloria Santos. She'd just been fired, after 15 years of loyal service." He looked around the room. "Do you know why she was fired? Because she asked for 1 day off, 1 day, to be with her grandson who was having surgery." Several staff members looked down, uncomfortable.
James's voice grew stronger. This restaurant has a problem, and that problem is a culture that values appearances over character, money over humanity, power over compassion. He turned to Nathan. "Mr. Pierce, do you remember me now?" Nathan swallowed hard. Yes, I didn't know—" "You didn't know I was the owner," James finished. "But that shouldn't have mattered. Every person who walks through that door deserves respect, whether they're wearing a tuxedo or work boots." Nathan's face was bright red. "And Gloria Santos," James continued, "she deserved respect too. She gave 15 years of her life to this place, and you threw her away like she was nothing." James looked at the rest of the staff. "I'm going to be very clear about something. This restaurant is going to change. We're going to treat every customer with dignity. We're going to value our employees. And we're going to remember that success isn't measured by how expensive our wine list is. It's measured by how we treat people." The staff was silent, hanging on every word. "Starting today, we're implementing new policies, better benefits, more flexibility for family emergencies, a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination of any kind." He paused. "And Gloria Santos is getting her job back, with a raise and paid time off for as long as she needs to take care of her grandson." A few staff members started clapping, then more joined in. Soon the entire room was applauding, all except Nathan, who stood frozen, humiliated. James turned to him. "Mr. Pierce, my office, now."
In the manager's office, Nathan sat across from James and Marcus, his hands shaking. "Mr. Miller, I want to apologize," Nathan began. "Before you say anything else, I want you to answer a question honestly." Nathan nodded. "Why did you refuse to serve me last night?" Nathan hesitated. Because I thought you couldn't afford it." "And why did you think that?" "Your clothes, your appearance. I assumed." "You assumed," James repeated, "and based on that assumption, you decided I didn't deserve basic respect." Nathan looked down. "Let me tell you something about assumptions," James said. "I grew up poor. My parents worked multiple jobs just to keep food on the table. I wore hand-me-down clothes, ate at soup kitchens, slept on a couch because we couldn't afford a second bedroom." Nathan looked up, surprised. "People made assumptions about me my whole life. They assumed I wouldn't amount to anything, that I didn't belong in nice places, that I wasn't worth their time." He leaned forward. "And you know what? Those assumptions almost broke me, because when people treat you like you're worthless, you start to believe it." James' voice softened. "But I had people who saw past my clothes, who gave me chances, who treated me with respect even when I had nothing." He paused. "That's the only reason I'm sitting here today, and that's the only reason I'm giving you a choice." Nathan's eyes widened. "A choice?" "You can learn from this," James said. "You can change. You can become the kind of leader who lifts people up instead of tearing them down." Or you can leave," James said simply, "and find another restaurant where judging people is considered acceptable." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I want to stay, and I want to do better." James studied him. "Why should I believe you?" "Because you're right," Nathan said, his voice thick with emotion. "I've been running this place like it's some kind of exclusive club, and I forgot that we're supposed to be serving people, all people." He took a breath. "I'm ashamed of what I did, to you, to Gloria, to anyone else I've treated poorly, and if you give me a chance, I'll prove that I can change." James looked at Marcus, who gave a slight nod. "All right," James said. "You get one chance,
But Nathan, if I hear about you treating anyone, staff or customer, with anything less than respect, you're done. Understood? Understood. Thank you.
That afternoon, James visited the hospital where Gloria's grandson was being treated. He found Gloria in the waiting room, holding a cup of coffee, looking exhausted but hopeful. "Mr. Miller?" she said, surprised. "Please, call me James," he said, sitting down beside her. "How's your grandson?" "The surgery went well," Gloria said, tears in her eyes. "He's going to be okay." "I'm glad," James said. Gloria looked at him. "I heard what happened at the restaurant. The staff has been texting me all morning. You really got me my job back?" "I did," James said, "and with a raise, and paid time off." Gloria started crying. "I don't know what to say. I thought my life was over yesterday, and now—" "You deserve it," James said. 15 years of loyalty should be rewarded, not punished." Gloria wiped her eyes. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why did you help me last night? When you gave me that money? You didn't know who I was. You didn't know I worked at your restaurant." James smiled. "Because 30 years ago, I was sitting where you were, scared, lost, broke, and someone helped me. Someone saw me as a person, not as a problem." He looked at her. "I made a promise to myself that day. If I ever had the power to help people the way I was helped, I would." Gloria's eyes filled with fresh tears. "You're a good man, James Miller." "I'm just trying to be," James said. A nurse came out and called Gloria's name. "He's awake," the nurse said. "You can see him now." Gloria stood up. Then she turned to James and hugged him tight. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." James hugged her back. "Take care of your grandson, and we'll see you back at work when you're ready." Gloria nodded and followed the nurse down the hall. James sat there for a moment, thinking. Then he pulled out his phone and called Marcus. "How's it going at the restaurant?" he asked. "Good. Nathan's been different, apologizing to staff, actually listening to people. I think he might actually mean it." "Good," James said. "Keep an eye on him, but I think maybe we gave him the wake-up call he needed." "What about you?" Marcus asked. James smiled. "I'm exactly where I need to be." 3 months later, the Wellington had transformed. Not physically. The restaurant still looked elegant and beautiful, but the atmosphere was different, warmer, more welcoming, more human. Nathan had indeed changed. He greeted every customer with genuine warmth, regardless of how they were dressed. He learned his staff members' names, asked about their families, gave them flexibility when they needed it. And Gloria? She became a beloved member of the team. The staff threw her a celebration when she returned, and customers loved her friendly smile and kind words. One evening, James stopped by for dinner. This time, he wore his regular clothes, jeans and a simple shirt. Nathan saw him walk in and immediately smiled. "Mr. Miller, welcome. Table for one?" "Please," James said. Nathan personally escorted him to a table by the window. "It's good to see you," James replied. "You too. How are things going?" "Really well," Nathan said. "Revenue is up 23%, staff retention is the best it's been in years, and we're getting incredible reviews." "That's great," James said. Nathan hesitated. "Can I say something?" "Of course." "Thank you," Nathan said, "for not giving up on me, for giving me a chance to be better." James nodded. "Everyone deserves a second chance, Nathan, even when they don't think they deserve it." Nathan's eyes glistened. "I won't forget that." As Nathan walked away, James looked around the restaurant. He saw diverse customers enjoying their meals. He saw staff members smiling genuinely, not just professionally. He saw what a restaurant should be, a place where everyone belongs. Later that night, as James was leaving, he ran into Gloria in the lobby. "James," she said, "how was your dinner?" "Perfect," he said. "How's your grandson?"
Thriving, she said, beaming. He starts physical therapy next week. The doctors say he'll make a full recovery. That's wonderful news. James looked at him seriously. I want you to know you changed my life, not just by giving me my job back, but by reminding me that good people still exist. James smiled. You did the same for me, Gloria. How? Because reminding me why I do this. It's not about the money or the success. It's about creating places where people feel valued, where kindness matters more than appearances. Gloria hugged him. You're doing that every single day. As James walked out into the night, he felt something he hadn't for long. Peace. Because he'd built something that mattered. Not just a successful restaurant, but a place where people like you meant everyone.
6 months later, the Wellington won an award for Best Workplace Culture in the region. Nathan accepted the award on behalf of the team, and in his speech he told the story of the night he turned away a man in old clothes. I was wrong, Nathan said to the audience. I judged someone based on appearances, and I almost destroyed something beautiful because of it. He paused. That man taught me that respect isn't something you give to people who look successful. It's something you give to everyone, because you never know who's standing in front of you. The audience applauded. James watched from the back of the room, smiling, because that's what real success looks like. Not awards or revenue, but changed hearts, and a world where people like you doesn't divide us, it unites us. Because in the end, we're all just people, trying to do our best, deserving of kindness, deserving of respect, deserving of a seat at the table, no matter what we're wearing. That's the lesson James Miller taught everyone, and it's a lesson the world needs to remember. Never judge someone by their appearance, because the person you turn away today might be the one who holds your future in their hands. Respect costs nothing. Kindness is free, and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. That's not just good business, that's being human.